to meet. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We only have 5 services. We're nearly through with the first one. We're pretty close to being halfway finished with the revival, if you think about it. I'd really love if you would just block the next few days out and come every night and meet with us, and let's worship and see what God has in store for us. I promise you, if you come, you'll receive something from God. I just guarantee you, He will do something wonderful. You can look at this as having to drag up here 4 nights in a row and go through the motions, or you can look at this as a time of refreshment and joy that God has prepared just for you. Amen? Yay. What you think about something is pretty much what you get out of it. So it all depends on how you look at it. I shared with them this morning, about 6 years ago, I broke my right foot. And for, I don't know, about 6 weeks, 7 weeks, had to wear a boot cast. Anybody ever wear a boot cast before? Pretty fun, huh? The problem is driving, which you're not supposed to do. I found I could go 0 or 90. I couldn't find that in-between thing with the boot cast. So for 6, 7 weeks, my wife had to drive me anywhere where I went. If I went to the grocery store, if I went to the airport, she had to drive. And so we live in Grand Sling. Grand Sling's a very small town. It's kind of the boonies. And we live 8 miles out. So we kind of live in the sub-boonies. We're so far out from our house, you have to go towards town to hunt. Okay, so, slow group. Is this not on? Really? And yet they're hearing me. It's amazing. Let me work on that. You know, it's got one sign that says on. If you turn it over, it says no. I was in the no mode, baby. Thank you. Now I'm too loud. God bless. Turn it down if you need to. So we're at Brookshire's grocery store one day. Betty's driving the truck, which is a scary thought right there. We get in the truck, I put my crutches in the back seat of the truck, and we drive home. When I get home, one of my crutches is gone. They're aluminum, they're very light, don't know how the air caught it, but it did. I said, Betty, we got to go back to town, see if we can find that crutch. Halfway to town, we found a little rubber pad laying out in the middle of the highway. Looked like a shriveled up hot dog bun in the sun. But we couldn't find a crutch to go with it. Somebody had taken my crutch. Went back home. This is Friday afternoon, about 4 o'clock. Called a friend of mine who had extra crutches, borrowed one from him for the weekend. On Sunday, 2 days later, I'm at my home church in Grand Sling. Don't normally get to be at my home church. I'm usually on the road like this. And I'm at my home church. After the service, I'm hobbling out to the car. A friend of mine by the name of Doyle, who works for the railroad there, saw me walking out. He came out, helped me with the crutches, helped me get in the car, and he said, how you doing with those crutches? And I said, well, they're not great, but they're not horrible. Doyle works for the railroad there in Grand Sling, and he said, you know, look at those crutches, kind of reminds me of this funny thing. He said, a couple of days ago, I was on that road that goes to your house, and we had a train across the road, and we were stopping cars. He said, the weirdest thing, first car that came pulling up, sticking out of his grill, try not to get ahead of me on this, okay? Sticking out of his grill was a crutch. Looks a whole lot like those like you got right there in the back seat. I said, are you kidding me? He said, no. I said, what'd you do? He said, well, I knocked on the window and told the guy, I said, sir, you have a crutch sticking out front of your car. I said, what do you do? So when he got out of the car, went and saw the crutch, yanked it out of the grill, water just came boiling out, steam and radiant, just antifreeze everywhere. He threw the crutch in the back of the car, got to the driver's side, backed up, turned around, and sped off the other direction. I said, Doyle, when was this? He said, oh, Friday afternoon about 4. I said, maybe you are not going to believe this. I said, I lost the crutch on that very road about Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock. It must have bounced out of my truck, hit the pavement, bounced into his radiator as he was passing me. I said, I probably need to fix that guy's car. It's probably my fault. I said, do you know who the guy was? He said, I'd never seen him before. He said, but I don't think you'll find him. I said, why will that be a problem? He said, well, you just lost your crutch. But he thinks he ran over a crippled guy.